that darn Karaite Jew? They're making us rabbinists look horrible.
If you've enjoyed this program, please click like and subscribe.
Shalom, and welcome again to another exciting edition of the Torah Watchman Show International, 501c3 company, hosted by none other, your very favorite and humblest of all Karaite Jews, Reb Yair ben-Emmett. I hope everyone's been well. I've missed you so much. At the close of every Parshah video I do, I know you miss me, but you should have hatikva in your heart and know that I will come back very soon. Okay? The gift that keeps on giving is the Torah Watchman Show International. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week. Again, thank you for your attention to this Torah Watchman video. My appeal and my love as for my Karaite brothers and sisters around the world, we are growing by the tens of thousands. We are growing. And we are doing things in a way that are getting Jews' attention around the world. We're actually allowing converts for the first time in probably the last 10 years or so. We're allowing converts to come. We focus on the father's bloodline and not just the mother's bloodline. Shalom, this is Yair ben-Emmett again with another exciting edition of the Torah Watchman Show. Yes, you've been greatly missed by this Hasidic Jew calling home in Silver Spring, Maryland, the United States of America. Yes, I'm exiled by choice in the diaspora in the United States of America. We're all waiting for the Mashiach. We're waiting on Elijah to blow the shofar, to call out to all the Jews, all the exiles in the four corners of the planet, and identify what tribal membership that we are nefesh, our souls originated once we were called to be Jewish in Mount Sinai. Parshah Acharei, just in time for this leap year. In a nutshell, okay, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis before we get into the deeper Torah concepts here. We're going to be reading in the book of Leviticus, and chapter 16, verse 1 through chapter 18:30. Not too long, so bear with me. Okay, if you remember the last parashah, when the unfortunate deaths of Nadav and Avihu, two firstborn sons of Aaron, the chief priest, the kohen gadol, he lost his son very tragically. And it was actually a tragedy for the entire tribe of Israel. You know, when one soul is lost, one person's life is lost, and these were young men, they were unmarried, and all the potential children they could have had, there was multiple sorrow and loss for this. Now, God used them as an example to teach a very important lesson of holiness. How unapproachable the righteousness and holiness of God is compared to carnal thinking mankind. And God wanted to show them. Now, Nadav and Avihu went through the 8 days ritual ceremony in the tabernacle in which they were indoctrinated as a future high priest themselves, Levitical priest. You know, if Aaron had passed away, one of these individuals, Nadav or Avihu, would have been the kohen gadol themselves and replaced their father. But why did God allow this to happen? You know, Ramban and Rashi and other sages of blessed memory, they debate this. But what happened, what we believe in is a preponderance of evidence in the Torah. You can read the previous Torah Parashah that talked about their tragic deaths. Quickly, they were enumerated, okay? They were drinking too much wine and they also probably entered the Holy of Holies, which was forbidden. Okay, at this time, only Aaron, the high priest, the chief priest, the kohen gadol, was allowed, and not his sons at that time. And we're getting into our study about Yom Kippur. This is where this is leading. God wanted them to know that there are certain chambers of holiness that were shared with between the finite and the infinite in Shamayim. God's throne was quantumly entangled between the Mishkan, the Holy Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was. The Ark of the Testimony was there, behind the curtain, behind the veil. And God wanted to know, I want to dwell among you. But you have to understand that I am a holy God, and I cannot be touched by anything that's unclean and unholy. And God is trying to teach this. I want you to be a nation of priests. I want you to be able to live in harmony with your Creator God, who breathed your nefesh within you. And God was trying to teach Moshe these very important lessons, and the children of Israel as well. This is something that happened one time, as far as I know, and never happened again. Because, you know, if the children of Israel did not have fear of God, and if they were just looking at just cold stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, which Moshe, you know, retrieved from Mount Sinai twice, and if they were just looking at these stone tablets, they will forget that Moses is not the one who had committed this intent and writing the Hebrew script upon the Ten Commandments on the stone tablets. It was God himself. God with his own finger wrote the Ten Commandments. It came from God's mind, not Moshe's mind. And God wanted to remind them that they need to learn what it means to be in the midst of something greater than themselves, greater than their sin, something that is holy and righteous, forever holy and righteous. And God wanted to enjoin them as his family, to be part of them. But there were boundaries of control and separation and laws and rules that the children of Israel had to learn. And more importantly, once they learned these lessons of wisdom, they had to pass it down to their children. So the innermost chamber of the sanctuary was off limits to everyone, even Moshe. Eventually, only Aaron or his appointed high priest to replace him could only go into the inner chamber, the inner sanctum per se, behind the veil, where the Ark of the Covenant was, where God's own soul, his nefesh, was manifested there among the children of Israel on one day during the year, which is Yom Kippur. Now, we're also going to talk about the Day of Atonement service. Again, Yom Kippur is known as the Day of Atonement, the casting of lots over two goats to determine which one to be offered to God and which one to be dispatched, carry off the sins of Israel. They're very interesting. I'm going to get off on a tangent, but in America, we actually, the President of the United States in Thanksgiving cast lots for a turkey. One turkey would be given to slaughter. The other turkey would live and be presented as a Thanksgiving celebratory bird in America. I believe that American tradition for Thanksgiving actually came from this Torah Parsha. So one goat would be sacrificed as a burnt offering, and the other goat would have the sins of the children of Israel actually transmuted inside of this goat's essence, and then the goat would be driven off to die in the wilderness. So Parashah of Acharei also warns against bringing korbanot, animal or meal offerings, anywhere in the holy but only in the holy temple. So there was no other place you could sacrifice animals, burnt offerings, sin offerings. You could not do that in your backyard barbecue. Okay, it was prohibited. This rule actually took form and grew as the children of Israel actually went into the land of Canaan and conquered it. And once the temple, Jerusalem was conquered by King David, a blessed memory, and then the temple was built by his son, they had provisions there. I think in Shechem, they actually had, or Shiloh and other places, they had temporary sacrifices there. But God was trying to teach them there's only one place you could bring the sacrifices to, because within the tabernacle, again, this is a boundary control separation mechanism that God had engineered. separating the holy from the unholy, the clean and the unclean. And the children of Israel had to continually strive, at least, to approach an elevated perspective in their life, their position in life, to be clean enough to be before God. Okay? So the korbanot, animal and meal offerings were a guide at that time, were instruction on what they had to do. The burnt offerings, literally their sins, the sins of the person offering the goat, would be burned within the sacrificial offering. Okay, so the blood, the sacrifice on the four horns of the ascension altar, the ceremony behind that was symbolic of the children of Israel's sins being impugned upon the sacrificial altar system, and the sins being destroyed and wiped out, and their account being forgiven. Okay, there's also briefly laws here prohibiting incest and other deviant sexual relations. Okay, yes, God speaks very clearly that homosexual behavior is an abomination. God did not say gay people were abomination. He said when you act upon any kind of sin, whether it's adultery, whether it's thievery, whether it's envy of property or someone's wife, whatever it may be, including homosexual acts, when the acts go into implementation phase, that's when it becomes sinful. God has established clear rules and laws for ethical conduct between individuals. Families could literally be ripped asunder. They could completely fall apart. The most important unit in society is the family. For a child to know that they have one father, one mother, that they have grandmothers and grandfathers, and so on. This is very important for generationally speaking, for children to be influenced properly in the ideal model that got established back then. I'm not saying this is the ideal model today. Okay? Please turn with me to First Aliyah, chapter 16, the book of Leviticus. And the Lord spoke to Moses after the death of Aaron's two sons. I would mention this here. Now, wrapping up the Sevav Aliyah portion for Parshah Acharei, Leviticus chapter 18, verse 30 is very clear. A great ending here. Therefore shall you keep my ordinance, that you commit not any one of these abominable customs, aka the action behavior of the Canaanites for the land that you will occupy in the future, which were committed before you. Remember, Canaanites were judged in their time frame. They had reached critical mass, and at the point when Joshua and the tribe of Israel did cross the river Jordan, we'll read about this in Devarim later in the books of Joshua. This is something that prophetically that God had warned Moshe to give these warnings and these edicts to the Jewish people so they would know what to expect. Message of truth do you need to hear? This is wonderfully sweet. I just wanted to share it with you. I heard it in synagogue today. I couldn't wait to do this short little videotape. Anyway, God bless you. Shalom Aleichem to you. Please share the knowledge of wealth and love and truth for everyone that was willing to hear it. If they aren't willing, why don't you live that truth, and you'll see them come running to you and grab the hem of your garment and then say, take me to learn the Torah in your synagogue. Take me to Jerusalem. I want to know more about the God of Israel. Yes, that is wonderful and sweet. Yes, thank you. Please subscribe, personal notify, because you never know when I'll have another exciting video coming your way. Again, God bless you.
A prayer during difficult times.
Adonai Elohai ve'Elohei avotai, Ata yada'ta et צרת נפשי ואת כל מכאובי, כי אתה בוחן כליות ולב, ובידך כוח להושיעני ולעזור לי ולחזק לכל. שלח אורך ועמיתך המה ינחוני בכל דרכי.